Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, you're going to hate me for this, but we are still stuck on the very beginning of this save, and I haven't really moved forward that much. The reason why I haven't done it is because there's some stuff that I kind of wanted to show to you. So I'm going to assume that you haven't done a save like this before with like an amateur team or a team that has like no money. Assuming that you haven't done that before, I'll show you one of the tricks that I like to use. So we'll go back over here to Football Manager. Here we are at the very beginning. There are two things that I really like to look at, first of all, before I ever click continue, and really kind of before I even look at the squad. The first thing is I like to go take a look at the schedule and see what we can do for friendlies. So we'll have to go over here actually first to staff. I'll show you how to set this up. If you go over to staff to responsibilities and match, you can see that you can have the backroom staff arrange friendly matches for the first team squad. That is on by default. I always turn that off, and I turned that off for the under 18 squad as well. I like to stack up the friendlies with a bunch of home matches to try to get at least some kind of money. I don't know if we're going to get much money here in American Samoa, but this is something that I do kind of by instinct. This is the way that I always will start off a new save. Even if it's with a rich team, I just do this anyway because it's just what you do. So now that we've turned that off, we can go ahead and take a look at our schedule and see what we have. You click on the schedule screen. Actually, it's not going to come up with this. It will come up with this at first, which will show you your fixtures, all of the matches that are created because of the league. You can see that we have matches on some Wednesdays, Saturdays with occasional Tuesday thrown in. However, because this is not a professional team, this is a amateur team, we need to be very careful about how we arrange this. The reason why is because our normal training schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. You can see here that I haven't yet made the changes to put Evidence-Based Football Manager's training schedule on yet. I've been busy with life stuff instead, including my actual job. But we're going to go ahead and do that eventually. We want to keep this in mind, though, because we kind of want to avoid having friendlies scheduled on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Now, I'll show you this as we go along, but chances are that if we have a bunch of matches like on Wednesdays and Fridays, some of these training slots will go away. I've seen different things happen in different parts of Football Manager. I don't know what is supposed to happen, but usually what does happen is stuff kind of glitches out. So this will be a lot of fun to play with. So when we go over to schedule, we kind of are going to want to focus on maybe Wednesdays and Sundays. We'll kind of keep that one in mind. And we'll try to arrange friendlies. We don't want to have a whole bunch of friendlies around here where the season begins. But maybe we go over here to Wednesday and we'll choose Eleoa and Tomata, which is the team that I believe is actually in the Champions League. And then we'll not do them again. It won't let you have the same team twice in a row. But you can have different teams. So if we try to do the same team twice at once, it will tell us that they don't want to play us so frequently. And then see, here's where we have a problem, right? We can have the Calgary Villains come over from Canada. That's not going to work. And so we're not going to pay that much money because we don't have that much money for any sort of match. We don't have any money at all. And so we kind of do the best that we can to sort of fill this out. And let's see, who haven't we done yet? We haven't done them yet. And we're going to run out of teams to potentially schedule pretty quickly. And yeah, you can see that there's not really that much to choose from left. We can always do nearby teams as well. I want to avoid, though, like I said, Saturdays. I'd rather have games on a Friday, and see that Wednesday won't work as well. So then we can go back through here and we can look at Friday. That's not going to work. The Sunday is also not going to work. Here we can have one on this Friday, and we can use a nearby team. And let's see what else we can get set up. And Mondays are the other days that we can do as well. Now, the reason why we want to have a whole bunch of these matches, really as many as possible, is because this will help us get our players used to the tactic quickly. As nice as it is to do match practice sessions, really the thing that will get familiarity with your tactic is playing matches. I know this because I've tried this many times, and this is the thing that works really the best. So yeah, we're not going to worry about those other teams that we have to pay money to face. We're not going to do any of that. Instead, we're just going to sort of cram ourselves as much as possible with 2 games a week. And let's see if we can get another game in here for this week. We want to stay away from Thursdays, so we go for one on Wednesday. Doesn't work. We'll go for Friday. There's nothing there. We go for this Sunday. There's nothing there. And then maybe, okay, now there's nothing on a Saturday. There is nothing on a Thursday. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much all that we can do. Now, when we get down to this week right here, what we can do when we get closer to it is we can take another look and see if there isn't another team that we can schedule and maybe sort of make it work after the fact. If you haven't seen it yet, this is the reason why we're not paying teams to play against them, because we have like nothing in our finances. Now, in theory, if we had teams that were willing to come to American Samoa, like big teams from Europe, that's not going to happen. But if we did, we could theoretically schedule games against them and see this balance go up a bit. It's probably not going to happen, though, and some of the modifications have been put in, I believe, kind of prevent that from happening, so we're not going to worry too much about that. That's one thing that we want to make sure that we do. And then the other thing we want to make sure that we do is we'll take a quick look at the staff here and see what we've got. So we've got some stuff. We've got like a loan manager. We've got a director of football, technical director. We technically don't really need any of them. I'm going to keep the director of football on. The technical director, this is the guy to help us keep track of the staff. Yeah, we don't need that. So we're going to, I think, can we just terminate his contract? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and terminate his contract. We don't really need that at this level. We also don't really need a loan manager at this level. I think the fact that I can just terminate their contracts means that they weren't on any money at all. But there's no real need for us to have that on this team because they're not going to actually do anything. It is good to have a recruitment analyst. We do have the lone scout, and we can always take a look here and see if we can find another potential scout. So we look for a scout who has attributes for, I'm sorry, I'm doing this incorrectly. Here we go. We go up here to scouts and chief scout, and actually it's not going to matter. We're just going to say who here wants to be a scout for us, because chances are that nobody does. And as we've searched around, oh, look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people who potentially would want to be scouts. We'll just pick one of them like this guy. All right. Approach to sign, and we're going to do an amateur contract again for no money, and we will make you into the chief scout. And the reason why we have this is because this will help us do a little bit of scouting around the rest of the islands and sort of see if we can find anybody else to bring on over and to put on our squad. And those are sort of the things that I usually do. I mean, we can go back over here to the overview of the staff. There's not anything else that I really see that stands out other than our need for a head physio. We can go take care of that in a second. We look at the youth staff. I mean, we do need a manager and assistant manager then. So we do kind of the same step here. We can do that really, really quickly, right? We do staff search. We want to find a head physio. So we go over to role, physio attributes, and we're going to look for key attributes for a head physio. And again, I mean, this doesn't really matter because, I mean, we're just going to we need a warm body is what we really need. It doesn't really matter what the attributes are like. All right, you can see there are 11. We'll pick the one that works best with the youth. Great. We will sign you for nothing and finalize that deal. And then now if you want to know, if you don't already know how to do this, if you're looking for a manager, you go to coaching manager. You have to make sure you click on include. You want to include only staff for the youth team. And here again, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're not even going to search for any specific attributes. We're going to look for this guy because he seems to like youth, and he will be our under 18s manager. And then we're going to pick, I mean, Nikki, you're going to be the next guy. Plays mind games. Great. He's going to play mind games with our youth. We need you to be an assistant manager. You want to hit the little lock over there to make sure he doesn't negotiate with you, and he thinks that's fine, and he wants to make sure if I have anything else to offer him other than 0 per week. And there you go. And as soon as these transfers come in through, we're going to have full staff on our squad. So those are the final things and the final steps that I would go through if I were you in terms of trying to get this stuff set up. Honestly, it's not necessarily required that you go through all of this for every save that, you want to run and all this. I would really recommend doing it, and getting into the habit of doing this first thing. The working with the staff can be really, really frustrating, especially when it comes time for contract negotiations if you have a really large squad. But it really is important for your team, especially when we're talking about coaching. While I know that the effects that coaches have are somewhat negligible, especially for teams in which You have a lot of players who have really good personalities and other things that will help them sort of grow on their own. They're not entirely negligible, and you want to get the best that you can. One more thing that we can look at really quickly before I turn this off and stop doing what I'm doing right now is we want to take a quick look at our head of youth development and just take a look and see what he is. I see he's temperamental. We can do a search really quick to see if we can find somebody who has a better personality. So we can just search for a head of youth development, and we want people who are going to play in our first, or who are going to coach for our first team. We could put this as mental attributes. Honestly, what I really want to insert here is the personality. And we can take a look here, right? So we probably want one of these, either fairly professional, even better, the spirited guy. Probably spirited is the one that we want. So we will approach to sign him and ask him to be the head of youth development. Now, there's a reason why I don't fire the head of youth development first, and it's because if you fire him first, there's a chance that the new one will come in and you'll have to go back into like the real weird responsibility screen, this one, to make sure that he's actually in charge of getting your youth players like set up and all of that. You don't necessarily want that to happen. It's easier to just bring the guy in and hire him on top of the old head of youth development and then just get rid of that one naturally. So anyway, the more you know, the better off you are. And there you go. That's how we deal with staff and how we deal with arranging friendlies for our team in American Samoa. And I think I should be able to have time today to get through everything and get us ready, hopefully, for a match tomorrow. We'll see what happens. No promises. Talk to you later. Bye.